Well, MPs have just wrapped up an emergency meeting today to discuss the alleged plan to carry out a terror attack in Toronto that was foiled by the RCMP. CTV National's Christina Tenalia is following the story. Christina, thanks for being with us. The Conservatives have been pushing for answers. They've called for this emergency meeting along with other opposition parties. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, and we would expect that the Conservatives would pounce on this, but it's warranted when you consider that there are questions as to how the two accused in this case entered this country, officially immigrated here, and how the elder, the father, it's a father and son duo here that the allegations are against, how the elder of the two accused was able to get Canadian citizenship. He is a Canadian citizen. So, Lena, to take you back in terms of what happened this morning in Ottawa, there was a committee meeting where MPs got together. It was a rare summer session to determine if they were essentially able to compel a number of officials and ministers to speak before them, to testify, to provide information as to how the two accused in this case, 62-year-old Ahmed El-Didi and 26-year-old Mustafa El-Didi, how they entered the country, how those checks and balances from an immigration process failed. So there was back and forth between, all the various parties today on behalf of the MPs who appeared at this meeting. And what was determined as a result of the meeting this morning is that there will be 6 hearings starting this month in which a number of people will be compelled to speak and testify. The RCMP commissioner has been called, the CSIS director, the head of Canada Border Services Agency, and then, of course, there are the ministers, Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Immigration Minister. There's the Immigration Minister as well that's been compelled to speak, Mark Miller. And again, the questions that were going back and forth at this committee hearing today were, MPs pointing the finger at each other. The Conservatives or the Liberals making cuts here or there to various ministries allowed this to happen, or the allegations. But again, we don't know exactly when the two accused entered the country. So it's a little bit challenging for finger pointing at this time when we don't know when these two entered the country, who was in government at the time, and when certain cuts or allegations of certain cuts to ministries were made. In saying that, let's hear from one of the MPs who spoke at the committee this morning.
Canadians deserve answers to these questions, and we believe that just as law enforcement is doing its work, that Parliament must do its work as well in pursuit of transparency, to prioritize public safety, give answers to the questions that Canadians have, and help Canadians feel assured that they are safe in this country.
Okay, so 62-year-old Mustafa El-Didi, he's 26. His father is 62-year-old Ahmed El-Didi. They face 9 charges, and the elder of the two, Ahmed, also facing a charge for allegations that he was involved in ISIS-level terrorist activity overseas. They both say they're not guilty. Of course, these allegations have not been proven in court. They had a court appearance today in Newmarket by video link. They remain in custody. So this was a bail hearing. They remain in custody. They were not granted bail, and they'll be back in court on Thursday. In saying that, this plot, this alleged terror plot that the RCMP foiled, this was in, according to the RCMP, the advanced stages. These two were in a hotel room in Richmond Hill. These are the allegations. They were found with some weapons, including what the RCMP say is a machete. They're also an axe, and that this was a mass casualty terror attack that they were planning, and that it was imminent. The RCMP say, may not have been an hour or two away, but pretty close, that this was going to happen, which speaks to why the RCMP acted so quickly. In saying that, so many questions now as to how these two entered the country, as to how Ahmed El-Didi was able to get Canadian citizenship despite these allegations that he was involved in terrorist activity overseas, and sort of, questions as to who dropped the ball here? Where are the checks and balances that are in place? The Public Safety Minister, Dominic LeBlanc, acknowledging as well, and the Prime Minister has spoken to this, there is a review in terms of the immigration screening process, but the Conservatives are saying, and this came up as well in terms of the committee, we need to take a look at, how many other alleged terrorists are walking around this country and are potentially Canadian citizens. So many lingering questions, and we'll hear more as these hearings get underway this month. And of course, a local court appearance for these two once again on Thursday. Lena.
All right, Christina, thanks so much for your reporting. We appreciate this.
Okay.